Right, hello THS. I am here to talk about a new project that we're doing, very exciting, which is the Zentangle Nature Community Coloring Book. So each of us will be making a page for this, and this can include teachers, parents, friends, and of course you guys. So you will be sent this sheet, and this sheet goes over this project. This is kind of a bigger delineation of the project. So over the summer, I was lucky enough to go to the Stanford School of Design, and it kind of made you frame a lesson or an activity by asking questions. So these were some of the questions I developed for this lesson. So the first one was, how can we create a piece of art for our community coloring book here? And you'll get this sheet. The second question was, how can art help us to relax and reflect during this kind of strange sheltering in place situation? So some of you have said that you're making art, or you're going for a walk, you're playing with your dogs, you're baking. So all of these different creative activities are really helpful during just kind of different times. And I've been having a little bit of stress, and all of these things are helping me kind of relax. So the other question through this process, how can we plan for our piece and develop our skills as artists through developing and creating our Zentangle piece? So I wanted to go over a little bit of how we're going to do this. So the first thing that we do is we make some little squares. So if you can zoom in here, Johnny. We make some squares here, and then you fill in these squares with these different textures, these different Zentangles, which are patterns of line. So this sheet, all of these suggestions are from this site called craftwack.com, Zentangle Pattern Starter Sheets. There are several hundred different ideas for Zentangles, which are these really cool patterns with lots of contrast. So a good place to start with this is to look at these sheets, make some little squares, and just kind of experiment and play with these lines and contrasts. And then you're going to dive into your project here. So the first one that I had here was these mountains. Can you zoom in here? You okay? So the way that we did this is we outlined the big shapes, and then you go into each small outline and fill it in with these Zentangles. The sky has been dotted, and then we use these different kinds of lines to create texture in the mountains. So basically, line is a continuation of a dot. You start at a point and kind of move your pen or Sharpie or pencil, whatever you're using, across the paper. Texture. So if you're talking about actual texture, you're talking about something that you can actually feel. So this is actually, we got this in the bazaar in Iran. If you look in here, a gentleman hammered this, and you can actually feel the texture on there. Implied texture is what we're going to be doing here. So here we have an example of implied texture where it looks like this is sticking out, looks like it's flat here. So the lines actually create texture. And this is another example, Bridget Riley. It looks like there's actually like a sphere coming out at you. And of course it's flat. That's just created by the different kinds of lines and the contrast. So contrast is the arrangement of opposing elements. And here we're going to be using a lot of black and white of those opposing colors to create visual interest. So you can use color or shape or size or texture to create these kinds of contrasts. So I wanted to look at this example here. So if you look at this first sheet, here's our outline or our shell of a landscape with all these different kind of sections here. And then as you can see, it's getting filled in with different contrasting kinds of lines and Zentangles. This is mostly line, this is mostly pattern, different kinds of patterns here. And by the end here, we have all of these really cool textures created by line, implied texture, lots of contrast. And then here we start adding color. This is optional. We've added warmer colors down here, and then the top part is kind of these cooler colors. So the warm colors are kind of sunshine colors, red, orange, and yellow. And we commonly think of these cool colors as kind of watercolors. So purples and blues and sometimes some greens. There is overlap between the elements, but just generally, you can shoot for contrast between warm and cool colors as well inside your creation. So if you could create one of these on a piece of just standard printer paper, it would be fantastic. And I look forward to seeing your creations. Thank you.